Time now for a round of our Pet Patrol, and today we are tackling breakups. We know, of course, they can be difficult in themselves, especially true when a pet is involved as well. Now, there's a lot to sort out when it comes to something like this, from where the pet stays, who foots the bill. So we've got some tips to make that process a little easier if you ever find yourself in that circumstance. We've got family lawyer Tracey Coates joining us this morning. Okay, good to have you here with us. We were talking a little bit about this in the break, but let's talk a little bit about how big of a deal this really is. Pet custody. How frequently are you seeing this type of conversation?
It's a huge deal. And to sort of take it back a little bit, I mean, pets generally are considered personal property, like a couch, like a table, like a car, all of that. But there's a handful of states, DC's one of them, that are starting to think about pets the way we think about children, sort of looking at their best interest. And I was struck the other day watching a news clip and, you know, all the fires going on in LA. And this gentleman, he was reunited with his pet that he had just seen and gotten from the rubble. And it was, you couldn't tell a judge that that dog was not a meaningful part.
Oreo was the dog's name, I think.
You could not tell that that dog was not part of their family.
Yeah, no, I get it. And then, you know, you brought up a good point, how states are recognizing these animals as, you know, family and personal property. Obviously, here in our area, we've got DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So does it vary by state, or is this a federal, you know, we see the same guidelines when it comes across the country?
No, it varies state by state, and you're absolutely right. We've got 3 jurisdictions here, 3 very different states. I mean, in terms of what the laws are with respect to pets, yes.
Okay. Interesting. So what should we keep in mind when it comes to pet custody and how we kind of divide these differences between them if you find yourself in a situation where you're breaking up with your significant other?
Well, you know, the first thing is really affordability. Who can afford to take care of this pet? Because as we know, they come with a lot of expenses, vets and boarding and daycare and all the things, right? So that's number one. The other thing I would say is location. In our area, you know, horses are a big deal around here. And so if you're living in the city, you probably don't have a lot of space for a horse versus if you're going to move out to Middleburg or something like that, right? And then practically speaking, are you the spouse that travels a lot and is going to be going back and forth, you know, and won't have time to take care of the dog, the cat, or the pet, or what have you? So all of those things I think are really important to just sort of start getting the conversation started.
What if you all check all of those boxes? Then what do you do? You put the dog in the middle and let it run to which one it loves more?
My dog is running to me. But
I know we had that conversation. I told I love you, honey, but the dog's coming with me.
Exactly. But you know what? One thing that really helps is families that have children. And a lot of things that we do when we build pet schedules, when we're going through a divorce and separation, is we have the pet follow the child or the children. And so if the children are with mom one weekend, so does the pet, and vice versa. The other thing that could happen too is that, you know, I have had clients that have lived in a separate area and they have come back to the marital home just to spend time with the pet, just to walk the pet every day. So it just really depends on a lot of different factors.
Okay. What if, you know, you're in a relationship, you've been with that person for X amount of months, years, however the time may be, you decide, hey, you know, now's the time for us to, where we don't have kids, we want to get a pet.
Yeah.
Should you be putting a contract in place or having a conversation before you do that about what would happen if and when you were to break up with your significant other?
Absolutely. Both are important.
Okay.
You definitely should have the conversation about the things that we were just sharing and discussing, but also you can put pets into prenups or post-nuptial agreements, and you can actually make more arrangements for pets than you can for children.
Wow.
So where they're going, their schedules, who's paying for all of these things. So it's really, really helpful. I had a client once who had a lot of horses. Again, the horses. She had no idea what her husband-to-be's middle name was, but she could tell you everything about all these horses. And, you know, one of the things I've also learned is the least inexpensive thing about a horse is actually purchasing the horse. So all of those other things that, you know, come into play.
That's wild. So fabulous and fascinating. So where can people catch up with you if they have any other questions about this or any other family law?
Absolutely. I am Tracey Coates. You can find me at Coates Family Law here, and I practice in DC and Maryland.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tracey. This was very eye-opening and something to keep in mind if you're looking for another pet in your life.